welcome back to the Mappool showcase. We did have a few whoopsies and technical difficulties. We're currently on a pretty improvised setup, so we might not have the best coordination going on, but we'll still try to get the rest of the pool out of its way. And we do have a change in commentary as well, because, well, it's still me on GeForce, which was present before, but we lost Kano and Aza, and instead we got the lovely Doomsday.
Hello, hello. I am the Budget Aza.
The Budget Aza, who was kind enough to actually get this replay out for us.
Oh yeah, so timed well, I suppose. Getting back where we left off, of course.
Reminds me of last week where you also helped getting some replays last minute. This was one of the replays which was missing because it got updated. This one is one of the the second and last map for ODMC specifically. This one's the Push 8 hidden. And this one has mostly an aim focus, but actually at this point I think you can also talk more because you need the replay.
Yep, I do know this one pretty well. This is the low approach rate hidden pick. It's not quite AR8 though. This is actually a slightly higher, AR 8.2, but it essentially plays the same way. This is a low approach rate map that's a bit more focused on weird aim. Of course, the last one we had a lot of weird rhythms and finger control elements on the left hand, but this one has a lot of weird aim patterns and lots of perfectly stacked notes. So lots of nasty stacks that are quite tricky to read. It's more comparable, I'd say, to the round of 32 hidden that we had. That one was kind of similar to this, except this is quite a bit more difficult than that was. Another relatively long map as well. There's lots of varying little patterns the whole way through. I think that sums it up pretty well.
Yeah, I definitely see your comparison between the first hidden we had in the round of 32 and this hidden. Funny enough, Ice Cold also talked to Lasse a little bit for opinions and help. But in general, it was interesting how Lasse came up with his kind of gimmick here. And Ice Cold here tried something similar. Not quite as extreme. Like you don't have any rhythm or like discussing patterns. It's maybe a mix of the Lasse gimmick and kind of Mirage style patterning, where you have just a bunch of really strong and big changes in distance space, and that's really hard to snap to, especially on hidden and the pushing it.
So there's some very specific patterns that are kind of tricky. Just before each of the choruses, you have a set of really anti-flow based jumps that start out on a very small spacing, then jut out into like a spaced linear, all the while just constantly tapping on 1-2s. Quite a jarring little pattern. It repeats, so once you play the first one, you can generally pick it up when it repeats. But it's a little pattern that can be quite tricky to snap. Should mention as well that, of course, because this is a backup setting, it has got the old overlay at the bottom, so we'll keep you up to date on the CS, AR, and OD. This is AR 8.2, CS 4.2, I believe, and then OD 8.5. It's actually slightly higher OD as well.
Alright, and going to the next map, the last hidden, it's gonna be Unpleasant Sonata, Hagley's Sonata. It's the second top diff. Not quite the top diff, that one I believe is a bit more square pattern. This one is 224 BPM, its focus is mostly density and streams, but a different way. It's while Hidden 2, the Push 8.2 density map was more about aim and just aim control. This one's also has a bit of aim. Obviously, you can't really put in a 5-star stream map. It's not really possible. So we get some stream map there. Also tries to balance the pullout with a bit more high BPM. And yeah, you probably know this map.
I do know this map. Honestly, whenever I play this set, because you tend to see the Insane a few times. That's been commonly used in tournaments, but this is like the the unloved difficulty of the set. You barely see it. Personally, I actually prefer this to the Insane. I really like the fact that you picked this one over. It's a nice change. It's kind of comparable in the sense that not only does it have those speedy streams, but it's got plenty of that awkward AR9 hidden aim on the speed. But it's got that aim element as well.
Right, I mean, it's always pretty interesting to see like just a map set. You usually see the top diff being played, and then all the other diffs are just unlocked. And sometimes it's unfair to the other diffs just because it doesn't have the highest star rating and thus isn't the top diff. And I think this one fits pretty well.
I feel like this one, it's got, well, compared to the top diff, the stream rhythms are a lot different. They're a little bit more ad-libbed. You have a lot of burst streams, but, you know, you have some slider rhythms in there as well, so you have some slightly stranger rhythms as well that you have to manage. But it doesn't really let up on the whole stream aspect. It doesn't really let up lots of kick sliders as well. But certainly, it's the speed, well, the stamina, speed, and the awkward aim that makes this a tricky one on Hidden.
Right, and that was the hidden pool. Now we're going over up to the hardwood pool, and hardwood one starting. It's XX or double X, me, whatever the song artist actually should be called here. This is the one, and I think only anime song in this entire pool. It's at least really fun. I think it's one of the better ones. The main focus of this map is aim, and for anything else, maybe specific weapons, specific spikes, I think Dukes that can take over.
Yep, I did this shiny replay.
As you can see.
But yeah, this map is essentially the aim map of the hard rock pool. Pretty standard stuff, this for the most part. Lots of big jump spikes and pretty comfortable aim shapes. A few little sets of triples, little space triples that switch back on themselves. But for the most part, the tough part of this is the aim. Very high star rating, quite long length, plenty of big jump spikes to deal with. It's that consistency harder. And well, one thing I've noticed actually about these consistency maps is they haven't been the most popular maps. You'd think the opposite, but you don't see them too often, so it's a bit of a treat when you see them as a big caster. They're quite rare.
Yeah, funnily enough, I believe Hardwood 1 actually has been banned a few times in the last stage, which was surprising to me, really. I would imagine all the maps to be banned more frequently, but Hardwood 1, I believe, it's always a surprise. It's like the smaller brother of Novathor, pretty much. It's a bit lower in star rating because it's more harder. You also have the only 10 aspect, etc.
Yeah, we should mention as well, the star rating of this, what you're seeing there is the base star rating.
Oh, right.
This is 6.77. It's just under the star rating of that No Mod 1 Nekomata Master map that we saw earlier. Ever so slightly below. It's a very different map to that, though. That map was more about just pure jumps on standard settings. But this sort of, maybe it's a little bit less on the pure jump aspect, but it makes up for it with its smaller surface size and hard rock setting. It feels pretty different.
Right, something to note though is that it is definitely slightly harder in the second half. Would have loved the better pick, honestly. It's just the way it is sometimes. Don't really have too many aim-mapped options in the specific BPM and style, which
You get the job done, doesn't it? It works. Yeah. It's like it's aiming. It's pretty comfortable on the flow. So it's less about dealing with awkwardness and more about just being good at the old jumps, I suppose. Or with those little triples in between. Those triples are a little bit spaced, so yeah, pushing a bit, easy to miscue those. This ending also has a few little kick sliders in some of these jump patterns. It doesn't really change much when you play it, but backdrop's certainly a possibility. You see that stuff's so tangled. Don't look.
even if it does, it's still a wonderful play in my heart to say thanks for getting a replay done for the showcase.
No problem, man. It's fun. I'm glad I'm able to contribute to this.
Right, I mean, it's the first year you're not playing for the UK lineup since I've been commentating with you. So we figured let's get you in the tournament in some other way or form. All right, and that was the second hard rock, third hard rock, and the last hard rock, obviously. Oh, I mean, second hard rock. This is the second hard rock. I skipped a line actually. This is the light tech hard rock. This is one of those unwanted love charts, or I mean children, of like a map set which has a top diff, which is I guess semi-popular, and then just a bunch of other extra diffs which just get ignored. And this is one of those extra diffs. I think this map is pretty fun to play. Obviously that's subjective, but it's a kind of light tech pick. And some of those snappy elements in there is 191 BPM star rating, is 6.18 after applying hard rock, and it's on the longer side, and the consistency light tech pick is the best way to describe it, I'd say.
Yeah, it's got plenty of those little kick sliders and little burst streamy rhythms that, you often see a lot in no mod, but when you throw it on the hard rock, bring those smaller circles into the fore and a higher OD, forces much more proficiency on these patterns. Like, they're not terribly complex, but the little stop and start aim you have to deal with, and those little kick sliders and the constant little spacing variations. Really went all Yorkshire then. It forces much more precision when you throw it on hard rock. It's a different beast than playing this sort of thing no mod.
As long as you didn't go too much towards Liverpool with your accent, it's fine.
Yeah, not going full Scouser.
Right.
That's it, way extreme, then chat won't understand you then. But it's one of those techie hard rock picks. These have started to become quite common. You didn't used to see them a lot because it was quite an extreme skill set, but because of the way the players have started really becoming very comfortable with hard rock, this sort of thing appears a lot earlier now.
Yeah, and this is actually something people are definitely looking forward to, is just some type of techie hard rock, but not like insanely techie. Because usually when you're in a mod bracket, things are not as forgiving as on normal, for example, where it can be a bit more extreme with certain types of patterns. Like you would probably never see a Neil Perry map, which usually has a really strong hidden, slider focus on his tech. On hard rock, it's usually not that fun to play.
I suppose when you get to really extreme things like that, like super high slider velocity and whatnot, hard rock really just exacerbates the difficulty on that. It becomes extremely difficult to hit slider ends at all. This sort of thing, though, not really based on fast sliders. It's more dealing with trickier spacing on those tappable nodes. But it's fairly low spacing, not really pushing your mechanics. It's more about dealing with the control more than anything else. You've seen these little streams here with that spacing change halfway through.
Yeah. I mean, it is, if you just look at it from a star rating perspective, 6.77 being hard rock 1 for the aim patterns, and this one 6.18. Pretty much a 0.5-ish star rating difference.
Quite a long one as well with this style as well. Not really a wild card short pick where you hope to get a good run.
Yeah, it's actually the third longest map in the pool.
So it's kind of crazy considering the kind of map this is. I feel like these sort of maps, though, they're quite popular. Expect to see it a lot next week.
Alright, and now we're actually going towards hard rock number 3. This one's the CS 6.5 hard rock. It's Crystal Illusion. This one's 2 minutes long, 6.21 stars, 175 BPM. Might ring a few bells for some people. It has been used sometimes as free mod in tournaments. This one, I think you might know this one, don't you?
Yeah, I do know this diff pretty vaguely. I think I played it in the tournament not long ago, actually, as free mod. This, of course, forces the hard rock on it, though, so certainly a map that's got a bit more of a rhythm focus. Also tricky little rhythms and spacing changes in this. Of course, the last one we saw had tricky rhythms as well, but this one's much more focused on just raw tap rhythm. Lots of cut streams, lots of doubles, things like that on that small circle size. It's quite a short one, this though. It has that slow bit in the middle, bookending two very nasty sections, but it certainly becomes much more difficult in the ending section that we'll see in a little bit, where the spacing really doesn't let up and throws these weird doubly patterns at you.
Yeah, and I see this map as a pretty much stream focus a bit, because of all the split streams, which are quite demanding, I guess. As a more of a balance towards the stream side of things, while it's definitely, I mean, I would definitely say it overlaps a tad bit with the Harvard 2 map. But I don't think there was a lot of choices for the CS6.5, if I remember correctly, because of all the rules you have to follow when Mappool included the C. And one of them being you can't pick a map which has been used in the last 5 years.
I do feel like you see a lot of like smaller circle-sized maps though with different styles come out though. It's been a bit of a niche.
Yeah.
We've seen a resurgence in, so hey, might get some more choice.
Alright, going towards the next bracket, double time. DT1 is actually gonna be the second fastest or third slowest map, I would say, of the bunch. It is pretty much the speed pick for just raw bursts. It's gonna be Sakimori Renka and 2 to 55 ppm. It's 6.28 stars, 2 minutes in length after DT application. Approach at 10.07, it's slightly higher than 10, and OD 9.51.
Yeah, so that's AR 8.6 base, and then you add DT to that. So, of course, we had an 8.5 DT last round. This is ever so slightly higher than that. Not really much different in terms of reading, but it's a difference. Some players might feel it, but I think a lot of the DT players aren't going to notice a difference there. And with this being the speed pick as well, it does fill a similar sort of niche. Of course, with the increase of size in this DT pool, we now have 4 maps in this pool. But this fills a similar sort of niche, I feel. Without actually seeing the map, I can see it's definitely got that sort of feel. You can see lots of bursts coming out on a similar sort of AR. That circle size looks a bit smaller, actually.
Yeah, it actually is CS5. Sorry, I missed that. I usually skip the CS for the double time sort of things.
Oh gosh, yeah, CS5. Okay, that's actually a big difference then. Yeah, CS5 is a big difference. I think apart from that, similar sort of map, but that always brings in a bit more precision when you're knocking it down to a much more unregular circle size for your usual DT mash map. Especially because this is actually quite fast as well, with it being 255 as opposed to, say, 230 at the last AR10 DT was.
There is the ordering is a bit different. Kane thought it was better this way. This one's just the first DT. It's more akin or like the DT3 of last week, I would say.
Oh, okay.
More like the speed pick with the burst focus, because for the stream map, we're actually gonna go right into the next map, Senja Magica. And this one's more like the stream pick, which is 240 BPM. And yeah, it just has streams. That's what the map is. A few pattern aim jumps here and there, but like mostly streams. It's an older map. I think this would be right up your alley if you would probably play this.
Yeah, I do know this one. As soon as I saw it, I realized, oh, okay, yeah. The idea, like the ideology you're going for is clicking now, because this one is much more just raw streams. I suppose, yeah. It's slightly slower, but definitely much more intense than just those longer 240 streams. It's a classic, this, yeah. Classic. It's kind of crazy to think this is map by Satellite. I always think of Satellite as being one of the more modern mappers. This map I always sort of put in my mind's eye as being an older one. I guess I forget how long Satellite's been around.
Yeah, it's a map from 2013, and the insane or this difficult is actually a collab by Frostmourne, Satellite, and Xargi.
some old school collabs. Got those storyboarded names. Good old Frostmourne. We'll get him in this pool somehow.
Well, Frostmourne maps are always a pleasure to play.
Yeah, it's that comfy old school DT vibe. You can't really go too far wrong. I'm with you on that. Always nice. But because this is like an older collab, the styles do clash a bit in the sense that when the mapper changes, things change just a little bit, meaning this map constantly varies. It doesn't really sit in one spot the entire time, but one thing that doesn't really change is its focus on raw speed over anything else. It's gonna have those little bits of old school aim element, kind of like what the last DT3 had, but it's not really as much of a main event in this. At least from what I've played of this. I've played this quite a few times. I always thought the speed thing a bigger deal than the aim.
I would say generally the BPM for what speed you need is lowered slightly, but the length of the nodes is definitely increased. And going for the next one, this is the highest BPM in the entire pool. It's Hack Koe. It's this one's the A map. It's a fast 10.3 approach to 10.3 A map. OD 9.78, 6.42 stars. This was like fast aim, it was like 10.3.
Yeah, you got that high speed or high AR aim map. The last one we had, the introductory 10.3, a fairly simple, fairly comfortable map. This one, though, well, I guess it pushes the mechanics a little bit. Looking at the way this is like, much more of a intensive one in terms of that, whereas the last one was much more comfortable, apart from a couple of spikes.
Yeah, this one's on the, well, it's not on the longest side. I guess for a DT it might be, which is 2 minutes and 30 seconds, but it's not the longest DT.
Not quite. I'd say this is pretty moderate length for a DT pick. A lot of the maps we've seen in DT so far have been moderate length. Nothing too short, nothing too long. Actually, something to mention about this as well, it's OD8 DT, so tight accuracy windows on this. The first DT we showed, the AR 8.61, also had over 7 OD, but it wasn't nearly as high as 8, it was only slightly higher. This is full-on OD8 DT, so AC is going to be a big factor on this, especially from that fourth player that may not be so comfortable. Certainly could swing things on a map like this, where people might be able to combo it well, but maybe not AC it so well.
Yeah, I think you've pretty much hit the nail on the head. It does have a few spikes here and there, but it's generally pretty consistent. I would probably expect a lot of people to alternate this, like the jumps. You can definitely single tap, it's not too fast, but since it's the mostly consistent of alternate, I think people like Badu can, for example, still play this properly.
A little bit as well for those just joining us. The showcase is currently being streamed from a backup system, so the updates to the overlay aren't on this, so bear with us on that. We'll keep you up to date on CS, AR, and OD.
Yeah.
Yes, some technical issues earlier, but we're back.
And now we're getting right into the longest double time, which is Halosi Heart of Night by Chaosnets. 3 minutes and 40 seconds long. This is the longest DT pick, and this one is the finger control pick. Have you played this map? It's right. Insane.
Yeah, I have played this. Played this one. Oh man, seeing this in the pool, it's pretty cool. This is a pretty sick map. Of course, with the extra DT slot now in this big pool, there's room for something a bit different. This one, much more focused on that finger control at a pretty high speed, and for quite a long length as well. It's a long map with DT, 3.5 minutes long, and it's pretty intense. Not really much of a breakpoint in this, or at least no significant breakpoints, apart from I think there's a short break near, if I remember right.
Yeah. It's also approach rate 10.13. It's what's it, 8.7 on double time? Yeah, 8.7
Yeah.
on double time. So slightly above 10. It's 192 BPM, and it is OD 9.78. Just a standard OD 8 double time. As you can see, it's a bunch of doubles, triples, kick sliders. Doesn't really stop. Just going intensity at you non-stop. And if you look at the entirety of double time, it definitely feels a little bit less intense, or like maybe less speedy, because the BPM picks, the BPM speed has been kind of divided across the board in different brackets. As you can see, Unpleasant Sonata and Escaping a bit higher, just No Mod, etc. having a 250 BPM pick. So that's pretty much that gives us the freedom to pick something like this.
I'm loving the storyboard showcase as well. Those shiny SP2s. It looks very quick, but BPM-wise, this map isn't massively quick. It's no faster, majorly, than the stream pick we actually had in No Mod last round. Although it is certainly stamina intensive just because of its constant barrage and burst, but BPM-wise, not massively quick. It's more about control and dealing with, the slightly higher AR and that high OD. So these fairly intensive patterns. Looks at big combos on this. Lots and lots of massive combos. If this is a Score V1 tournament, you have some big scores.
Also, congratulations to HAT for being able to predict this pick, because he did send me a bunch of maps and said, these are my predictions for the sea, and I just sat, looked at them, so just waited for my time to buy them. Yep, this one was one of those maps which got predicted.
Oh my god.
It's not too much of a surprise.
So that forbidden word, RNG was on his side today.
Oh boy.
Oh.
Look, there was no number generator which was influencing me picking this map and putting it in the pool, alright? Alright, Doomsday? There's no energy involved here.
Not at all. You just type roll 1000. Whatever beatmap ID was there, we're putting that in.
That's it, right. And that also is a bingo for the players having to have a 2008 map. Because if you roll 1000, chances are it's
yeah. Maybe it's more like roll 100,000, I suppose. Actually, that'd still be really old as well.
Yeah.
Damn, this doesn't work.
And now we go to 3.1. It's Hyun Tokyo Starlight. It's a CS3, 156 BPM, 2-minute long map. Approach at 9.7, so it's more comfy. So even on hit, it's pretty comfy. This one, I would imagine each team going hidden hard rock on it, like one hidden, one hard rock as the rules force you to, and then maybe hidden at most if you feel more comfortable. I don't think you would extra hard rock this. This is more like a hidden favorite pick.
Yeah, it's kind of scary when you throw hard rock on and buff its already fairly intense mechanical edge, because of that slider velocity and those spacing on these ult patterns are very high. Because of the high AR, it's already benefiting from a nice, comfortable reading sort of level. So, the last few pools, we've seen a lot of maps that perhaps you would call hard rock favoured, right? This one's a lot different. This time the player taking hard rock will have to be the one to tank things a little bit, I suppose. At the very least, the large circle size should lend itself well to those hard rock players. When you put hard rock on it, it becomes CS 3.9, so it's still above the usual CS4 default. So it's not that bad. It's not exactly small circle size. It just raises that spacing up to a point where it's pretty difficult to follow some of these bursts. I'd call them bursts anyway.
Well, it's kind of a mix between like an alternate map or just a space tree map. It feels like a mix of both. It does have those snappy patterns, but also the flowy patterns.
Yeah, this is CS3 based. You put hard rock on that, it's CS 3.9. So big circles. It can be like a little bit disorienting to read large circle size actually sometimes. Oh, the net's having a cough. Hold it together. Steady the ship there.
For anyone just joining, we're currently streaming from a backup site, so please apologize for excuses for any hiccups during the cast. Next map is gonna be Mappool Kakushigoto, the 0108 Extra. It's a VAL map. It is 3 minutes and 40 seconds long, 200 BPM, CS 3.6, and approach at 9.2. This is pretty much the old map. It is one of the newer maps. From actually, I think this is a map search, just a collection of a bunch of old maps trying to rank it, and the madman actually did it.
He actually did it. The absolute madman. But hey, Val mapping in this free mod pool.
Ranked 2019 in June. So, but
Cool.
this difficulty isn't from 2019 June. Yeah, if you look, if you pay close attention, you see definitely a few harder overlaps. Silva went for the balanced approach, since the first map was a hidden map. This one's on Nomad, and the third one's gonna be on hardware. On hidden, this one definitely has some overlaps you have to be paying attention to. On hardware, it's just harder. It's not that much harder, as it's CS 3.6, so it just gets up to 4.68. And I would reckon people can definitely hardwork this. It is generic enough for people to do so, but I think the safest choice would be to just go for 2 normals, 1 hardwork, and 1 hidden.
Got a little bit of that 0108. I'd echo that though, looking at this map. It looks standard enough, and because the approach rate is AR 9.2, it's a pretty comfortable range, especially with a map not massively high speed like this. It's 200 BPM, but 200 BPM AR 9.2, it's a pretty comfortable range. I'm definitely going to be expecting a good spread of mods, but of course you have to see 1 hidden and 1 hard rock. But I don't think either team are going to be too worried about this one for one of their mod players. I think each team are going to have a decent hidden and decent hard rock player that should be pretty capable on this. I would say maybe some of the awkward patterns could pose some issues, but I feel like both mods can find some difficulty from those Val-style angles and, you know, little symmetry mapping things he likes to do. So it's pretty even between the mods on this.
Right, that's pretty much the pick. It is on the longer side though, it's 3 minutes and 40 seconds. So at first glance it might be pretty easy to achieve, which is the length also has a bit of pressure there. On hidden you need to practice it plenty of times, just so you don't get, I don't know, surprised with some of the overlaps. And on hard rock it's just get raw skill, see the map, you're done. Pretty much, I guess, the story of all 3 mods up to this point. After reading, go for hidden. Have the skill, go for hard rock. Wanna be safe, go for no mod.
That'd be my choice, to be honest. No mod is best mod.
Yeah, and usually when you see that's already a good score to begin with. If you added hard to it, it's like marginally better, but just a lot more risky. Right,
Quite a heavy stream map as well, considering.
Yeah,
Lots of little bursts all the way through.
we need some kind of density, because the next map is also gonna be slightly dense. It's the Approach at 8 CS5 map. It's Asaka Nanatsu Isen Sakura, and it is the IIS expert. So this is actually an interesting situation. It's the first time we actually have, I think in quite some time, I actually went pulling with Kano, that we have the same map but twice in the same pool. It's mostly because Nomad 6 part just wasn't really available for anything. This map just was too good to pass up, which is the CS5 map. It's 152 in terms of length, 1 minute 52 seconds, 132 BPM. On hard rock, I think this is a lot easier on hard rock than on hidden, and people would probably go for more hard rocks, if anything, on this. I think on hidden, just the second part and just some of the patterns just aren't really that consistent to hit.
Yes, it's got some weirdness to this, some weird little aim patterns and little spaced triples that, when you're playing on that AR8 hidden, can cause you some problems. That string there is kind of nasty, or these ones I should say, because the very last note is a 1/4 jump, if I recall, and that stuff on AR8 hidden is pretty nasty. And the interesting thing about this layout is, whenever this map appears, one player has to tank that AR8 hidden. Someone's gonna have to learn this. It's not like in the past where you can just chuck hard rocks on all these AR8 maps. No. Someone has to take the hidden as well.
Yeah, and if you actually compare this one to the other IAM map, you definitely see like so much contrasting mapping styles. It's pretty insane actually. So we think it's not that big of an issue. It's still something we want to prevent and not have in the proceeding pools, but you know, it is what it is. And now it's the tiebreaker. And any predictions? Is it gonna be dubstep? No, it's just gonna be reset my refrain. A map people might know when you play a few tournaments, community tournaments. I think it popped up a few times here and there when it was unranked. It's not unranked anymore. It is, I think, it's actually ranked. Actually, I thought it was low. It's actually ranked, yeah.
Yep. Fast July.
Yeah, can't complain. It's ranked. There we go. This is a 230 BPM map. Has some bursts here and there. Not too long upstream, so you don't have that much of a speed requirement. But the cool thing about this song, it's not just the map is great. It's Captain, obviously. It's gonna be a pretty well-followed map. But the cool thing is the song, which allows Captain to map in a way which is pretty much two different spec styles. At one point you have this 230 BPM jump and that burst. You have to have your speed game up a little bit. And then in like two parts, which are around 30 seconds or 40 seconds long, it suddenly becomes a 280 BPM map and you alternate. It's like two different mapping styles in the same map. Or like two skill sets at least. And that, I think, makes for a pretty balanced tiebreaker. At least as balanced as you can really get at this point.
It's pretty nice to see a tiebreaker pick that has a lot of the mechanics-based, usual tiebreaker shtick stuff going on, but it can introduce some of the more gimmicky stuff, I suppose, as well. I mean, the way the ult stuff in this is, if I recall, it's pretty standard ult stuff, so even then it's not that gimmicky anymore, it's just another facet of standard skill set. So there's got a nice spread of things throughout this map. It's pretty cool to see. But on top of that as well, it's genuinely got a decent speed the whole way through as well, so it's not just a slow resident sleeper map with some big jumps. You might sometimes see it that way, but this one,
yeah,
it's got a bit more spice to it.
Actually, currently you see the alternate parts of the map. You see Xora currently, in order to support your favorite blah, not Silver, obviously, alternating while previously he's still on top. This is the 280 BPM part. It's pretty much right about this part, and then now it stops. And then it's somewhere around 2/3 of the map in the game. And between both parts, you just have the regular old 230 BPM jumps and bursts, etc.
Kind of high AR this as well. With being AR 9.7, it's on the higher side. I think that's probably to balance the ultimate bit as well.
Yeah, the density might be a bit too high otherwise.
Yeah. So for the most part, it is a higher approach rate than maybe you'd expect on a more standard sort of map. But this isn't really a standard tiebreak. At least not fully the whole way through. Taking some faster little bursts. Definitely got a little bit of that speed aspect, and if you made it any lower, it would be quite dense. It'd become a bit more of a reading challenge. Not really what you want, I suppose, in a map like this, where you really want to be testing mechanics more than anything else. Quite a beefy map as well. Well over 6 minutes. Honest to God, though, this reminds me that I need to go back and get a score on this. I haven't actually played it since it got ranked. So thanks for reminding me on that, Paul. We need to go back and play it. It's a really nice map. I remember playing this before. It's quite popular, like multi-map Some people like bring it out as a nice bang when you're playing in a multi-lobby. And like I say, you do see it in the odd tournament because of its, because of its USPs that it has.
Right.
Super gear.
And it's pretty much all you can really say about the map itself. On a completely unrelated note, if you want to check out the player name playing this map right now, we would really appreciate it.
Oh man, my favourite player. Big fan of this guy.
Yeah.
I'm glad he could give us a replay. And his name is he's so valiant. He's renamed himself after a good cause for us.
Right, because by banning a banner and supporting your team, you support your DFC, you support prize pool, and you get a cool banner on your page. That's all I can really say. Otherwise, if you don't want a banner because you think, well, no one's looking at my profile page anyways, because I don't know, I'm 7 digits, who wants to watch my replays? Just subscribe to Twitch. Subscribe to the Twitch channel, get Peppy Pants, try to build Peppy in the chat. If the stream dies again, you might either go for the Acer copy pasta, or you can try and build a Peppy. 3 different people. It's actually harder than it sounds.
It is really hard. I don't think you've seen a whole Peppy built yet.
Not this year, not this year.
Not yet, anyway. Give it time. There's plenty of time yet in OWC for that to happen. Constant variance in moves keeps you on your toes. A lot of the more mechanics-focused tiebreakers, you can get into a flow of things the whole way through, but not so much with this. With those ult patterns coming in, you constantly have to keep switching your focus from more standard, just go with the flow aim to this more snappy alternate sort of happening where you got to be a bit more switched on to different sort of map style. And because it's so long as well, after playing a grueling best of 11, matches will be next week. The test of your fortitude, I suppose. Assuming we see it. Kind of a surprise we saw no tiebreakers this weekend. Really hoping to see one next weekend. There's a lot of matches for it to happen, so come on, we've got to get at least one. It'd be cool if it was this map.
I think we're gonna see a few more tiebreakers next week, because there are some really interesting matches. But yeah, that was the tiebreaker, and that concludes the Mappool showcase. We're not gonna go over all the matchups, because this is not quite the original setup we planned to use. So at this point, I think we're just gonna call it a day, and thank you guys for watching, and see you guys next week.
Yep, thanks for watching.
See you.